you're on.
Matt, I appreciate the time that you're giving me today, and like I said on the phone, I'll be brief to our discussion. But you know, the fun part of my job is meeting with 3 to 4 C-level executives weekly, kind of share things that are going new into the marketplace, and tell you where the industry's going, and also where some of your competitors are going. But just to kind of reset it, that in the phone you told me that you started off about 5 years ago with wool-file manufacturing. You had 15 employees, and today you're at about 300, and you're currently on a BPO with BCN.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, good. When you started off the organization, Matt, why did you pick a PEO? What were the reasons that drove you in that direction?
I just didn't have the expertise
Okay.
to really run the organization, and I needed some infrastructure.
Okay. So if I dig a little deeper, what did you really like about it? So you kind of told me quickly, but what part of it that really jumped out in the 5 years you've been with them that you really liked about the BPO?
I could focus on what I needed to do to drive revenue and drive my business.
Okay. And then also when you look at the other area, what other areas of opportunity when you look at the BPO that you just weren't getting that really satisfied you as a true business partner for wool-file manufacturing?
I felt that we weren't getting enough attention for the employees and development in the HR, some of the HR expertise, to really develop more of a culture here.
Okay.
I just felt we weren't getting those pieces.
Okay. Matt, we deal, like I said, with a lot of CEOs every week, and I'm more than sure you'll agree with me that it's very compelling that you guys are under a lot of competitive issues. You need to stay ahead of the curve and keep growing your organization, which you've done very well with, from going, from 15 employees to where you're growing it today. Would you agree with that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we feel good.
Okay. Matt, there was a recent study that came out by Gartner that 75% of the CEOs really don't have a human capital management system in place to really make it a strategic part of the organization. But it's becoming more front of mind for companies today to keep driving to make sure that you have the top talent, you train them and develop them. Is that something that you're looking at in the future to grow wool-file manufacturing?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're probably aware of this organization, Dobiesz Manufacturing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a competitor of yours, and they were also on a PEO with BCN. But one of the things that when we talked to them about it was that they were looking at, one, increasing their technology. They really wanted to get to state-of-the-art technology, which they didn't have with BCN. The growth, they wanted to grow the top line by 8%. And they really helped develop their human capital management. And that's what's whole part of this workforce comprehensive service we have, what we call shared services, with Peerless. And that's why I want to spend some time talking to you about it today. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the comprehensive services, look at it as basically 4 quadrants. We have the technology, we have the people, we have the service model, and also we have partners that we work with. And when you look at the technology part, it really gives you the state-of-the-art, a unified database, system that can help streamline your applications. It also gives you the reports that you had mentioned earlier to me that you weren't getting with BCN.
Right.
So it really is state-of-the-art. And then when you look at the people model that we have, that's going to be led by our resource manager. The whole part of that is to get your company to be more in a compliant issue. So if you think about it, when you look at, remember the old Verizon commercial, you had the guy up in front and he had the whole support team in back?
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same concept. So if there's questions with taxes, payroll, any type of litigation issues, whatever it might be, that's the whole team that's supporting them. And so again, what we do is to, one, keep you compliant and then help grow your organization. When you look at the service model that we have, so that's going to help lift the tactical part of the HR department. So if you have open enrollment questions, there's a question, I lost my password, I have to reset it. That whole service team there is there to support it and to lift the tactical issues off and make your HR department more strategic.
Okay.
That's the whole goal of it. And then when you look at the partners, that whole thing is that with our buying power, we associate ourselves with all these different partners that we have to give your organization a Fortune 500 feel, and then help retain your employees. The other part of that is that we really want to keep your company compliant with, there's 300 training classes is this one model to go through training. You just hired you want to promote a new employee to HR. He's never had any training, sexual harassment. We have OSHA reports, things of that nature that we can help develop and grow your people. And where I really look at that part of that quadrant, Matt, it's really to take, if you have C employees and B, what do you do to get a C employee up to a B level and a B to an A? And how much can that add to your bottom line with the organization by getting them more effective, efficient, and trained? So as a whole broad brush, that's where this whole concept is going. And then in dealing with Peerless, what they did is when they got off of BCN, they actually saved $175,000 by partnering with ADP. You know, one last question when you look at it, when you look at human capital management, Matt, if you were to rate it from a 1 to 10, where would you rate your organization?
I would say 5 or 6.
5 or 6, okay.
Yeah.
And when I really look at this whole picture with human capital management, which is going, where companies are going today, Matt, I think that we can safely say that if you were to invest 30 minutes with me next week, I could come in and do a deeper dive and show you how we can start moving you up into that 8, 9, and 10 for human capital management. Would Tuesday or Thursday be okay with you next week?
Actually, Thursday would work out well.
Okay.
Nice job, Art.
Good.